So I had to boil 40-year-old NES in water yesterday. Like, literally. Put it in a pot and pan. And boil it in water. And if you're confused by that, don't worry. Because imagine being me and reading online that the only way to fix it is to do that. It was an interesting... It was an interesting read. It makes sense, though. It makes sense, I promise. I promise. It doesn't sound... It sounds insane. It is a little bit insane. But it worked. Right? That's the important part. It worked. It actually worked. It wasn't bait. It wasn't someone trying to fuck with me and, like, get me to break my stuff. Nope. No, it worked. So, okay, let me give you, like, the rundown. I've mentioned I got all the old Nintendo consoles, because I was like, that's cool. And I don't have the cables to make them work. Yeah, I need, like, a conversion cable, because nobody uses composite video anymore. Who uses this? So, they're all so old that they don't work with HDMI, so we need a bunch of converters to get them to work on HDMI. I don't have them yet, but I got one for the NES, right? So I can try that one. So I'm like, okay, plug it in, see if it works. You know, it's 40 years old, so it might not. It could be dead, you never know. So I try it, and it's kind of like flashing a grey screen. So I'm doing some Googling, and the first thing it says is you need to open up your console, like fully open it up, go to the motherboard, and then you need to break. You need to break, like rip off one of the connecting pins on one of the chips. Because anti-piracy or something. I don't fucking know. So I do that. I'm like, fine, you know what? It's not working, so I have nothing to lose. And suddenly the flashing grey screen has been replaced by just a blank, like a flat grey screen. So this is progress, right? You know, we've got progress here. It's alive. It's outputting video. This is good. This is good news. But I'm putting the game in, and nothing's happening, which isn't great. So how do we fix this? Is it the game that's broken, or is it the console that's broken? Well, if it's the game, it's probably just the game being dirty. So I'm looking at the game. It does look that it looks fine. Doesn't look that, you know, you give it the good blow, right? Even though you're not meant to blow on cartridges, it always works every time. It just does. Like, you know, like if you've ever had a cartridge like video game before, you'll know blowing on it just works. I don't know why. Oh, I know why. It cleans off the dust, but I blow on it, and how did you kill it? Whatever. I blow on the cartridge. I blow on the console. Nothing. Right? Nada. Nothing. It's not working. So I'm like, okay, well, I've spent far too much money. Actually, to be fair, the NES didn't cost me that much money. But, like, you know, I would like to not have to go through the process of returning it on eBay. As much as, like, as good as eBay is for doing that kind of stuff, I can't be bothered. So I'm like, okay, how do I fix it? And I'm Googling, and everyone is saying you need to boil your pin connector, right? The actual bit of the system that reads the game cartridge. And I'm thinking, okay, I'll boil it. What does boiling it mean? Because I'm like, you know, this is some new terminology, right? What does boiling it mean? Do I have to do something like fancy? Like, do I need to like buy pieces? No. Turns out, what boiling it means is literally taking the pins, like the connecting pins, and dropping them in a pot of boiling water. And then ramming a game cartridge in there like 20 times to try and remold the pin connectors to read the game. I wish I was joking, but I am not. This is actually what everyone online is saying you to do. Everything is saying you need to, you know, break this pin connector, and then you need to boil it in water. And I'm like, well, this is either going to permanently break it, or it'll fix it, like everyone's saying it will. And, you know, it's already broken. It's not working. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I got nothing to lose. Into the pot of water it goes. And I'm sat here. And I'm literally, like, just sat here downstairs at, like, 11 o'clock at night. Like a gremlin. With a copy of the original Mario Bros. For NES. And a 40-year-old pin connector in a pot of boiling water. And my brother comes down and he's just like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm just like, how do I explain this? I am boiling my game console. That was a crazy snipe. I saw that coming. But it's like, you know, I'm literally boiling it. And so, you know, I'm there for like half an hour maybe, you know, just boiling it a few times. Ramming the cartridge in. I'm like, well, guess I gotta go let it dry up now. I can put it in my system, because the actual pin connector is like a very small part of the system. I have to like fully take this thing apart, which is just what you want to be doing with a 40-year-old game console you bought off eBay. It's exactly what you want to be doing. But anyway, I'll go back upstairs. I wait for it to dry. I reassemble the console. I have a screw left over at the end, which is definitely... I've got it like on my desk right now. It's just a screw left over at the end, which is great because it was already missing screws. But as long as it's held together, am I right? So I plug it in, and it actually starts working. Like, it actually worked. Like it wasn't fake. Can you please run to Sawblade? Please, please, please. Thank you. But yeah, it actually, like, legitimately... Wow, those coin boxes are big. Like it actually worked. Which is, like, the crazy bit. You know, if I went through this process, right, of, like putting this console into the water, and, like, why you kept back hit, please? And you know, it didn't end up working, then, like, you know... What did you expect, dumbass? You put it in water. You put it in boiling hot water. Of course it's not going to work. Of course you just fried it. But no. It actually worked. Fully functional, no problems. Okay, well, I guess the only problem is, like, I'm running it through, like, a crappy, like, cheap composite cable to HDMI converter, and then running it on a 1080p screen, like a HDMI monitor. It doesn't look great, but it was never going to look great. The point is it works, and that's really cool. And then Amazon have very annoyingly delayed the cable I need. It's really annoying because, like, all of the other systems between SNES and GameCube, so, well, the three systems between the SNES, the N64, and the GameCube, all use this thing called, like, multi. They just use this multi-connector. They all use the same one, which is different to the NES for some fucking reason. I don't know why. But it's different. And I ordered one off Amazon, and they have delayed it. Yeah, I've never had anything delayed off Amazon. The more annoying thing is I paid for, you know, I paid for next day delivery. So that is £5 I am never seeing again. But oh well. I guess I'll have to wait for a later date to test if the other ones work. But the NES working is good news. Because if the oldest one works, then the rest will probably work. Right? Like if the oldest one works, then the rest are probably, you know, A-okay, good to go. I have no doubts the GameCube will work. The SNES will probably work. The N64 remains to be seen, because I had to buy, apparently, a thing. This is just like, if any of you are watching this and are looking into like getting old consoles, be careful when you buy an N64 secondhand, or from anywhere really, because N64s are old, and because of that, Nintendo designed it like a dumbass, and they have a physical like RAM pack that goes in the back of them, like a thing that goes in them, and it came with the console, but a lot of resellers won't include it. They'll sell them separately for like more money, which is, you know, I didn't know this, so I've had to buy it separately, and that means I don't know if it's gonna work. So, hopefully it does. It looks official. However, it's also all of the Rumble, all like they're called memory pack, and all the packs, like they're in Japanese. I don't know if that's because you weren't supposed to remove them and like ever look at them, or if that's because it matters. I guess we'll find out. I guess I'll find out, not we. You know what I mean? That was a good shot. Dang. Bro got fucked. But yeah, that's my there's my little story of how I took a 40-year-old game system and put it into boiling water. If you're wondering why that works, it's because the heat, it's actually really clever. The heat of the water thermally like expands the connecting pins, and it also makes them malleable, right? So when you jam the game cartridge in 3 times, it remolds the pins to the game cartridge to make it read it. It's genius. It's actually really clever. Yep. I did that. But yeah, that's genuinely, like, surprisingly clever. Like, I wasn't expecting such a clever solution to be such a stupid solution. One that you would never think would work, ever. But, you know what? It's funny. Maybe I'll make that the thumbnail. It'll do, like, terribly. Idiot. I think I've got 2 thumbnails in mind. I've either got wide resolution Hikita and then a misspelt thumbnail, or a picture of me with a fork and the console piece in the hot water. I will probably use Hikita, because realistically, the other one won't do well. I can guarantee that. I would put money on it, frankly. Ooh, so you suck, Ferryman? Get out of here. Well, that was anticlimactic. But yeah, there you go. There's my escapades of dipping a 40-year-old console in boiling hot water to fix it.